Hey, everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode and a brand new season of the Unrequested PD podcast. We're your hosts, Francisco Faticati at Faticati in all social media and
Mr. George Valdez.
any social media, sir. No.
Not really.
No, we're really excited to have you, man, because this is something we've been talking about, something that's been going back and forth, and I think it's important if we're offering a PD, unrequested PD about education. I think people want to hear it from somebody who is in the field and somebody who is actually teaching in the classrooms. Like I get to see a lot of things, but I think it's different when you actually have the teacher shoes on and the teacher hat on, and you get to work with the kids every single day.
Correct, yes, sir. So, yeah, like you said, I'm there in the classroom, hands on. It's different. I'm assuming I've never been in your shoes, but I'm assuming that it's a different perspective that you have with the administrative background.
I think like administration and not to speak generally of administration, but I think we see education in a different sense because it's more idealistic. Like we're looking for specific ideals, like and in our brain, if you do this, this must happen. Like if you do this should be happening. Like if
Correct.
you, I don't know, have your kids work in groups, and ideally all kids should be working in groups and learning together. But you know that that's not always reality.
Realistically,
That's not always reality.
yeah,
Like you'll say, if we were in school together, and they'll say work together, me va a copiar. I'm just gonna
yeah,
copy whatever you wrote.
yeah.
Like
So
it's
not everybody's learning. We're just
no,
copying.
we're just copying. So that's the tricky part because we're thinking research based strategies. We're saying direct instruction, collaborative practice, independent practice. Like that should be the cadence of learning, bell to bell instruction. But really, like once you get into the classroom, you realize that it's not as easy. Like if we keep pushing, I'm totally against bell ringers. I don't know if you knew that, but like I'm a bell ringer hater.
Yeah,
But bell ringer hater. But like
what's
that's
your purpose or what's the background on that?
well, I think bell ringers are like causes of inequity in education because not every kid chooses to be late. So if my teacher's bell ringer is the start of the class, and I'm late for whatever reason, I'm already behind in whatever you're instructing because I didn't get to be there for your bell ringer. Um, I feel that it's I don't know if I'm in ROTC and I'm in a building that's 20 minutes away from class and the school system is not well set up for me to make it in time, then I'm going to be late. Not because I want to, because that's the way it is. Like athletes are going to be late because football's in the morning, or because not nothing against football coaches, but they're always late. It is what it is. It's not a kid choice, and then they already have a minus grade because
Because of that.
because
You're
of
setting them up for failure.
yeah, you are.
100%.
You are. I think we got to do as systems do better at setting up start times and just start delivery at a certain point. I don't know. What do you think on that?
Well, I think bell ringers would that be the same as a do now?
Mhm.
The same thing, right? Same thing as a
Same
do
thing.
now. Um, I think I agree with you in the inequity part, but I feel like it keeps order in the classroom. If you have them waiting, not doing anything because you're waiting on that person that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be late, well, what about the ones that did make it on time? They should be not that you should be taking that for a grade, but you should be learning should start from the get go. So then
Mm-hmm.
all that's happening, I feel, is that the ones that are there are getting ahead.
Yeah.
So I get it, it's inequity, but why is it? Why should it be unfair to them that are already in class?
Yeah, but I think we have to think about that bell ringers are not supposed to be the start of class. It's supposed to be the space between,
Between the lesson.
like a transition
Mm-hmm.
between classes, right? So once the bell rings to start class, we start class. The bell ringer shouldn't happen after the bell. Right? It's a do now as you're coming in. It's not
Correct.
like a do during. It's not activity one. It's activity zero,
Correct. Zero,
right?
zero.
It,
Exactly. Yes.
it it's activity zero.
It's activity zero.
So why should I give advantage to some kids that have class next door versus not advantage to some kids that have class somewhere else in the building? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah. It's a good topic. It's a good something to think
right?
about,
It's
something to
something
look
to,
into. Yeah,
yeah, because I know just recently I heard somebody talk about a research on avoiding tardiness, and part of her uh, proposal was to have bell ringers. And my flag started going off. Like, whoa!
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how do you
Let's slow down.
how does it? Like, how does it? I think personally, and I have no research on this, so don't quote me on this, people. But I think that if we have a teacher who's engaging and entertaining, um, kids will want to show up more than if I just happen to have a bell ringer. Like, I think it's
Right.
more on the teacher delivery of the instruction than on the resources that I'm using.
I think it's not going to fix your tardy problem.
It's not.
Just because you have a bell ringer, they're not going to rush to the classroom
Uh,
to do your bell
Mr.
ringer.
Valdez said.
Well, they say that we have a bell ringer now. That is an issue. I don't know how you've seen it. The tardiness, it's an issue.
No, it's an issue. It's an issue. But now, here's, I guess, my question. And I know this is not a topic, but this is good conversation to have. Um, is it an issue of, is it a systemic issue because of scheduling? Is it a student issue because they just don't, they don't care about showing up early? Is it a teacher issue because we're not structured enough to make sure that kids get there on time, or is it a parent issue to not rush, their kids, or not motivate them to or push them to? What do you think from a teacher perspective?
I think a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think systemically we can do better. It's my fault for not um, pushing the systems that are in place already, whether I like it or not. I
Mm-hmm.
should be doing them. A student problem because they know they should be responsible to get there
Mm-hmm.
on time, not lingering, not being with their girlfriend, not talking to their friends.
See.
They need to be held responsible to
Yeah. Yeah.
be on class on time. And parents, if it's in the morning when they're dropping them off, uh, I mean, they're the ones that drive for the most part, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, juniors, seniors, they can drive themselves, but young ones, elementary, middle school, they
Mm-hmm.
don't drive. So it's
See,
on the
and I
parents.
don't think they suffer as many tardiness problems, at least in the elementaries, because they're with the same
Yeah,
teacher all day, or
for the
they
most part.
rotate the kids, or
Right.
or the teacher is the one that moves into the classroom. So imagine that now, if the teacher makes it later class,
Yeah,
that's a different issue.
that's the issue. Yeah.
That's a different one. Um, but yeah, that's a good topic to look into farther later, because I think and it's that connection. See, I'm gonna keep talking about it because is that connection, that conversation on whether does attendance equal good attendance equal academic success?
I disagree.
Okay. What's that?
Um, just because your body is in a place and you're attended doesn't mean your mind is there. A
Yeah.
lot of them are either have problems at home.
Mhm.
There could be athletes that had a game yesterday and
Mhm.
are super tired. They want to go to sleep. Um, many different issues that
Mhm.
a student is facing. So their mind might not be there.
Mhm.
So they're not grasping whatever your lesson. You can have an awesome lesson, but if they're not, if their mind is not there, it's not going to happen.
See.
So just because they're there doesn't make it a learning environment.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
And
I feel
I agree. I agree with you because I think we have to look at kids who are constantly absent and are academic successful.
yeah,
Like how do, yeah, like, because we do have some kids who
they
are
can still
absent
make it.
and
Yeah,
they'll show up, they'll master that test. And
right.
it's like, oh, I guess I taught you well in the one day you were here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's a low percentage though, but it happens.
But yeah, but it
But it
happens.
happens. Yeah.
There was this study, forgot her name. I know her last name is Haycock. Um, she studied teacher preparedness, and so in part of her longitudinal study, she looked at the difference in academic success for students who had a well prepared teacher and they measured them for 2 years, right? So they had a well prepared teacher in year one and a not well prepared teacher in year two, versus a kid who had a well prepared teacher in year two but not in year one. Another kid who had two well prepared teachers, one in year one, one in year two, and two not well prepared teachers
Both years.
in both years. Right? So the study shows that kids who had two well prepared teachers both years completely outperformed kids who had not well prepared teachers in the 2 years, regardless of attendance. Like it didn't matter whether the kids were there physically, the impact of the teacher and how well prepared they were to deliver their lessons made a huge impact
when
on
they were there.
when yeah, when they were there, when academic success. So I think it goes back to what you're saying. Like it's not about them simply being physically there. It's about what are we putting in front of them, and what are the things that we're giving them, so that they're tackling academic concepts and learning academic concepts when they're there.
When they're there.
Yeah, yeah,
So because there's you don't know who's gonna be there or who's gonna be absent, you got to be prepared
yeah. Uh-huh.
all the time
For all kids.
for all kids.
Have you ever? Well, have you ever heard? And because I know you're a coach too. Have you ever heard the idea that you coach to the top kid?
Yeah, to lift the rest of the
Uh huh.
team up. Yeah,
Is it does that apply in teaching too? No.
I don't
Okay.
think so
How so?
because
Dude, we're going completely
I
off
know
script.
we're supposed to talk about something else because I'm going to use an analogy of the brains being computers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a high performing computer that's going to computate, that's going to run smoothly,
Mm-hmm.
quicker, boom, pick up everything that you're saying quickly. But if you do that same thing to a different type of brain, it's not. It's just going to shut down. It's going to say, I
Okay.
can't go that fast.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you're doing is leaving them behind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
in athletics, um, you're pushing that high kid to go higher, and assuming that the other ones can do the same drill
Uh-huh.
and
Physically.
physically,
Mm-hmm.
which they should be able to, and pushing them up with that athlete because it's the same drill for everybody
Yeah.
because they have the ability
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Maybe not as well, but it's growing. Opposed to well, opposed to their activity, the brain activity, it
Mm-hmm.
would be different. But now the argument could be, well, isn't the brain a muscle? The same way their body's a muscle, and
Okay.
you're pushing those athletes
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
and I
stronger or
think
whatever it
and I
is.
think we all have similar physical abilities for the most part, and obviously we have people who suffer from different physical disabilities. Um, but if we push ourselves physically, and if we're physically able to do it, I think we should get to the same goal. But
I feel, with that being said, I'm going back to athletics. There are some athletes that I've seen that are just natural talent
Mhm.
that he can, I would say he, but it could be a girl, right?
they,
They can outperform other athletes without having to try so hard.
hmm
And some athletes will never, and I'm sorry to say this, they will never be at, they can
hmm
work out as hard as they want, but I
see,
don't know if
see,
it's
see,
genes or what, they will never get to where those athletes
see. I
are. You
agree.
can work out as hard as you want, and you will never be a LeBron James. I'm sorry.
Oh man,
Sorry to
that's where I
sorry to
was
bust your
going.
bubble, but those are just they're built different.
Yeah.
Like the kids say, right? They're built different, but in reality, I don't know if
hmm
it's genes or what, but athletically, it's the case. Well, with that being said, could we ever be an Albert Einstein? Could we work towards being an Albert Einstein and get there, or is he too far off to where he's a LeBron James of intelligence?
Yeah, and well, I think we get into a deep subject because in intelligence, like we're working with different cognitive abilities, like,
Yeah,
that are hidden, that we don't know. And we have so many kids who go through school without being diagnosed or without being identified as specific language needs or cognitive needs, who live and exist in our classrooms, and we don't support them because we don't know, because it's just hidden abilities and things. And I think understanding how we learn, like I'll tell you my example. For instance, I don't consider myself to be a smart guy. Like that's just like a, like a, I've met so many smart people. I know my abilities, so I work with them.
With
With them. So I developed a good study habit, and, and that was it. I think in college, during a bachelor's degree, I was very good at just listening to class and never taking a single note,
note, yeah.
ever, 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 and then just show up to take the test and pass the test. Like I was good at that during my bachelor's. I think during my master's program, it started getting harder because now I had to
Change your habits,
I
change
had to study and understand that it wasn't that easy. Like it's not about just digesting information, but now we're thinking about synthesizing information and transforming that into different knowledge, and that's something that didn't come naturally to me. Like it, so I had to work towards it. But how do kids in a ninth grade class understand that about themselves?
yeah,
They're not there. Like they're not there. So
the
so
maturity level is not
mm-hmm,
there. They
yeah.
need to grow, and I guess that's where teachers come in, right? The different practices that you're doing.
Mm-hmm,
For example, in my class, I have them take notes. Why do I have them take notes? It's not just so they can be busy. It's so that they can, in the future, they can say, "Oh, I remember taking notes in Spanish
mm-hmm,
class. Now, if I'm in this in undergrad class and I need to take notes, I know how to do it
mm-hmm.
because I was taught
See?
in this
Hmm.
class."
Yeah. And I can tell you, I'm not speaking bad of any of my teachers, but I never learned how to take notes.
Sure.
Like
I felt the same way. That's why
mm-hmm.
that's why I have them do it because I was never taught
See?
how to take proper
Like
notes.
I remember the term Cornell notes,
Yeah, exactly.
but
What are
I
they?
have no
How do
idea
you
what
do
it
it?
is. Like
Yeah.
I've been teaching or I've been in the field of ed for 10 years. I still know what it is. Like I don't know what Cornell notes are, but and they may be simple. I don't, do you know what they are?
I just I've seen the template, and it's just little
See, right?
little notes on the side, and then the rest of it. Like you write notes, and then you have little notes on the side about those notes. That's what I've seen.
See.
I could be wrong. I never went to Cornell.
Guys,
I went
if
to
you're
UW.
listening to this and you know what Cornell notes are, please educate us.
Yeah, send us
I really don't know.
an email, and also social medias
All
over here.
social media at Faticati and all social media. Just
There you go.
yeah, send a message and we'll figure it out because I don't know. Like I shared on TikTok a couple of months ago because I shared it with my university students the way that I take notes now. Because I used to when I started learning how to highlight things, I highlighted the whole thing.
The whole page.
The whole page. I was like, this sounds important.
All this is important. I need to remember all of
I
this.
can leave out the word but.
But
let,
the
me,
any
let, me,
fanboys, you don't have to highlight the rest here.
let me move on to the next one. That's how I was taking notes, and it wasn't until I realized that notes are like my thoughts.
Sure.
So whenever I read something that struck a nerve or that it ignited me to think something else, I would highlight that part and then write what I was thinking. Because whenever I was going to go back to write my own paper, I wanted to go back to that moment and to that line that made me think what I was thinking. Right?
Makes sense
Um, and I mean, I don't even know if that's the way people write notes. That's just what worked for
for
me.
you. Yeah, and
So,
I think that as long as we teach different ways to write notes, or just
mm-hmm.
how to write type notes,
Yeah,
or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
anything
See?
that can be useful.
Or how important it is
Yeah,
to take notes, to type notes.
and
Because
if you want to change it from there to your own style, that's even
see,
better, right?
and if you can teach them to do it online, I think that's better. I
I
don't
do it
know.
actually. I do
Online,
them
yeah.
on Word
See,
document. Yeah,
see, you see, there you go.
yeah.
Because I've been, I did my entire master's online. At the university is like 10 miles away. I don't know how
Yeah.
far is Edinburgh from here. 10 miles,
About off Mars,
like 10.
10, 15 miles.
I don't know. It's like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 15
Yeah,
minutes.
like 15 minutes away. And I show up for any class. Like I did them online, and it wasn't like an online program. We just happened to hold class online. So you had to learn to make notes and do all that stuff online. So I think that's a skill that we gotta
Yeah,
teach kids, or at
yeah,
least at least show them that it's something they're gonna use.
yeah. I mean, even just for daily life, you can use notes for daily life. Things I need to do, a to do
Hmm.
list. Bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just keep you organized.
See,
Organization's a big deal. I feel like um, maybe they did try to teach me how to be organized, but
I'm sure someone at some point tried.
try to teach.
I
Yeah,
think you were at that stage in your junioritis.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
you just like whatever. But
That
but
one
it's
is there.
that one was there. Just turn it in. It's the but I think organization is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal. We
See,
we need to teach kids.
we're gonna. I'm gonna bring us back to our original topic.
Please.
Unless you have a thought that
No,
you want
no,
to close
no,
out with. No, we're
no.
good. We're
We're
good.
good. We're good.
Because one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and I've been commenting, talking about it online. Um, the fact or teacher perception. I think that's a way that I'm gonna put it. Teacher perception and the way kids see you. Does that make a difference?
Absolutely. Yes. But I think it comes down to the way you carry yourself first, right? The
Okay.
respect you have for yourself. So if and ain't nothing wrong. I'm the type that I joke around with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I get along with them or try to get along with the kids. But the reason I do that is so that they can perform because you have to. I
Mm-hmm.
think you have to have that rapport with them.
See, you roast
Nothing
them,
wrong
they
with.
roast you back, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
You
Uh
roast
huh.
them back and forth, and have a chill environment. That's what I like. That's how I have.
Uh huh.
I don't want to. Oh, that's because I'm an elective. It's a different situation, different scenario in my classroom, right? But
Well, is it because last time we were here and you told me that it didn't matter there was an
my 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 course is just as important as a core class.
addictive? There
but
you go.
but it could be more laid back. Nothing like I'm. It's just that I'm not tested, so I feel like I have that ability to
Uh
have
huh.
that leniency with them, opposed to where you're gonna be
Your English one. Yeah.
evaluated
Uh-huh.
on your test score. So, hey, I need you
Mm-hmm.
to perform, dude.
See,
And
see,
now
see.
I feel like that stress goes on the teacher, and that teacher stress comes out on the students,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and that's how it is. I feel I'm not an English
See.
teacher, so I don't know, but because I don't have that stress of a test pushed on my back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like okay, get along with them. I need you to perform, have that, like you said, that roast conversations back and forth. It will be fine. But I feel I've been teaching for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to that point already.
10 years, dude.
Yeah, 10 years. So
Wow.
my first couple of years, although I taught elementary, I wasn't like that. I had to be more structured. I had to
See,
be more tough on them.
I
Well,
have
they're
a
second graders.
I have a coworker, elementary teacher, who used to say that kids don't see you smile the first semester.
Oh yeah, I would hear that. Don't
Yeah, is that
smile.
true?
Don't smile after Christmas or something like that.
Until after
Yeah.
Christmas or something. Yeah,
So,
is that true?
well, I think
Because I start my class with jokes.
yeah, no. But where are you? Did you do that your first year?
I don't know. Actually, don't I don't know. I had a guest a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Juan Salinas, where I mentioned that I feel so bad for my first year kids.
Yeah, I mean it's
I was like, damn, if I could go back and reteach them and they come on, just come together. I know now.
I know now. I can help you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, um,
So I don't know. I don't know.
it's tough. You can't be that cool teacher year one,
Okay.
year two. You have to they have to know that there's a line drawn and where the respect comes in, and you have to be a little tough love with them because your name's gonna go out there.
Mm-hmm.
Your name's like, oh, Mr. Faticati, he's kind of
Like,
strict.
nah.
But nah, or
Nah.
if you're not strict, yeah, they're gonna be like, Nambe,
Mm-hmm.
he's chill and just do whatever you want,
See,
and they'll do whatever they want.
see,
So
see. Mm-hmm.
don't be that teacher. But once you get to know them and they know that there is a line that is drawn, you can joke with them, and I think their perception of you will change. They know
Mm-hmm.
that you mean well.
Mm-hmm.
So then at the end of the day, they'll perform for you.
Yeah.
But but yeah, student perception of their teachers matters
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Now, nothing wrong with being that super strict teacher all the time.
I'm gonna look for a study. Sorry, because
I'll
it
go for it.
like it's super relevant to what we're talking about right now. And we just had a principal meeting, and I shared that with our principals, and I just thought it was super powerful. I struggled to put it in my slides because it's a research from 30 years ago. 30 years ago, man, like 1994. Like this person did this study back in 1994, and I know what we say.
Wait,
The
30 years ago, we're in the 70s.
No, no, no. 30 years ago, we were in
Yeah,
1994.
don't say that.
Right? So, this study says this, and I'm going to read you a line because here. It says so. This study is looking at what teachers, how teachers like to teach, a survey of how teachers like to teach, versus compared to a survey of how students like to learn. And it's just powerful. Like you would think that it should align, like you would think that they should align. So in 1994, Turley is the name of the researcher. Said that the kids discussed qualities they're concerned or mechanics of teachers, teachers knowing their subject. That's one of the things that the kids want or wanted 30 years ago. Evidence of thoughtful planning, using appropriate methods, giving adequate structure and directions. Um, some of the kids wanted uh, they are equally or perhaps more concerned with teachers using humor in the classroom, treating students fairly, motivating students, avoiding boredom, showing tolerance, fostering student ambition, being interested in students' lives outside the classroom. And above all, these students prefer teachers who show care and concern about them as people, not as students they happen to know because of their job. Wow, that's powerful. 30 years ago, man.
And it's still relevant
And
today.
it's still relevant today. Still relevant. A lot of kids, all they want is somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
like somebody to talk to. Mr. Juan Salinas, he's an instructional coach at one of our schools. Um, this section sponsored by Juan Salinas.
A law firm, not us.
um, he was telling one of the teachers earlier today, actually, who had a Christmas tree there in her classroom, and she said, "I want to throw it away." And he said, "No, don't throw it away. Don't throw it away because a lot of kids don't get a Christmas tree at home. So save that tree and put it up whenever it's Christmas time, and have the kids put an ornament in that tree because a lot of kids will never have the experience of putting an ornament in a tree." I thought that was so deep. Like we don't think about all
No,
those
we take
things.
that for granted for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like I remember having a little tree in my classroom, but I never asked the kids to decorate it. I was like,
Get away from it.
don't touch
Don't
it.
touch it. Don't touch it. Go sit down.
that was that was the usually our TAs or tutors were the ones that were helping us decorate our Christmas tree in the classroom and everything. So the kids never get to touch it. So when I heard them say that, that brings so much perspective. Like that's just one way you can connect with kids.
Yeah.
And it may not even be about reading or math or science, but they after that moment they're gonna work for you.
Yeah. They're gonna remember that you care.
Yeah, that you care.
What's that? There's a saying. It's not how much. There's a saying.
Rick Ramirez says that Rick, we're gonna have him on the podcast soon. Rick Ramirez says that you have to reach them before you teach them. You have to reach them before you teach them. That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. Because you don't have that connection with them. You're just another teacher. You're
You
there
can
for
throw
them.
as many words at me as you want,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna learn from you because I don't care about you, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess it does matter what how kids see you then.
Correct. Yeah. Perception.
Mhm. Does dress code matter?
Does dress code matter? I believe so. I
Okay.
believe so. I think.
Because is this your like school attire?
Yes, this is
Okay.
my school attire. So,
You look sharp.
más o menos.
Hey,
Más o
you look
menos.
sharp. You look sharp.
Dressy pants, button-up shirt with the collar, right? But I feel like it depends on the. We can't generalize. I feel like you can't generalize.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a high school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like dressy pants, collared shirt, appropriate. I feel.
Okay.
I know that some campuses, some principals or
So
some,
no jeans.
like I said, I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna answer that. Hold on.
Okay. All right. All right.
So,
All right.
so
Go for it. Go for it.
I feel like I don't. I've heard that some principals, some superintendents, they ask male teachers to wear a tie and
I
to be
wear. Well, I don't have it on, but well, but
wear a tie
yeah.
and be well formal,
Mm-hmm.
right, into the classrooms. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, but we are supposed to adapt the teaching styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be. We're not professors. We're not supposed to be teaching
Okay.
PowerPoints, and you're supposed to be walking around. You're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like too formal. That's a little bit too much.
Okay.
Maybe Monday ties for males. Fine. One day out of the week ties. I'll take
Mm-hmm.
it. We don't have to do that where I'm working at. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing, right? But I mean, I wouldn't think anything wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
Jeans. Okay, working at the high school level, we're expected to move. We should be moving one day out of the week, which we already do.
Friday.
It's Friday. It's
Mm-hmm.
fine. I'm not against it. If you want to pay extra for the rest of the time because it's going to
Like a
a
fundraiser.
fundraiser,
Mhm.
scholarships, that's fine too. Like I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I do feel that elementary teachers, because I used to be an elementary teacher,
Mm-hmm.
do deserve to wear jeans. Do
Okay.
deserve to wear a little bit more casual
Yep.
because you have to get down to the kids' level, and the kids are little, so
Mm-hmm.
you have to be here and there and there and then back and forth, and you're going. It's go 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like it doesn't apply to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a little bit more formal on the high school level, more laid back in the middle school, and let the elementary teachers do their job. Let
Yeah.
them do it however they want to. Now,
Sweatpants.
yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah, no, because at the end of the day, you're a professional, and if you want to be treated as a professional, you got to dress it. So
Okay.
I've been taught this
But
from.
that's okay. Okay. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but does it make a difference in the way that it impacts kids and academic success?
That's not what it's teaching. It's not. You're absolutely not. It's probably not going to affect them that way. But you are you're the role model for 8 hours or more.
I like that. Okay.
So if mom, dad, uncles, all they wear is just whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then more likely they're gonna wear whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if
But
one day it
wouldn't.
sparks that my teacher is sharp, I want to be like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it won't be all. Maybe it's just one kid.
Mm-hmm.
There you
But
go.
here's the thing. Like my dad is a truck driver. Never in my life. I think on my sister's wedding he wore a tie. I think he was unsuccessful.
No,
Okay.
that doesn't make you successful or not successful. I feel like it's just and I've been told this is from my when I was little to
Mm-hmm.
now. My mom still tells me, "Como te ven,"
Cool. See, you see. Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, you might be the president of the United States, but if you're not well dressed, they're gonna criticize you. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna say, "Why is he like that?" You know what I mean? So again, if you're someone that doesn't brush your hair, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's the little things.
See. I guess my thoughts and my thoughts. It's shouldn't we change the way people see others instead of the way we dress? Like, wouldn't it make more ideal and like going back to
Yeah,
idealistic
yes.
senses? Like, wouldn't make more sense for us to teach kids that regardless of what people are wearing, because we're thinking of a centralized Americanized style of wearing clothes.
Correct.
Right? Like if they happen to, I don't know, life takes many turns, and for some reason they end up in another part of the world where teachers are not guided by the American system of wearing clothes. Um, that doesn't mean that their teachers won't care about them.
Correct. And I feel like that would be ideal, but is that realistic?
See,
Because you're right. We shouldn't judge somebody by the way they're dressed, but
mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they do.
Well, look, I'm gonna point you or anybody who's listening, uh, Professor Mike Mena. He's a professor at, and forgive me if I'm wrong, some I don't know, University of New York. He's actually from down in Texas, America, down in Texas. Yeah, and he's different. Like his style of clothing is different, but he's a professor at one of a very prestigious university, and he's very knowledgeable. Right. So I guess my thoughts are, um, it didn't stop him. Like it didn't stop him from being who he is and the knowledge that he has and doing all those things.
I
We
think
had
that
a
that's a different
big
setting, though.
we had a big conversation a couple of years ago in one school that I'm not gonna name, but the number one graduate, the valedictorian, had blue hair. blue hair, and there was a whole back and forth about in the billboard, because I don't know if that's everywhere in the United States, but here in Texas, or at least in South Texas, our top 10 would display in the billboards in the streets. Right? I don't know.
Yep.
Does that happen everywhere?
I've seen it. I've seen it in Texas.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it in
Like
Texas.
at least I know in South Texas it happens. Like
Yes.
we display them. So one of the things they wanted to do was to color their hair with Photoshop. The color it black so that it looks normal. And like, but the color blue didn't stop that kid from being number one and beating everybody else, dude. Like, why would you? Why would we hold kids back or people back, um, just because they like to dress different? That's my only concern. Now, don't get me wrong. Well, let's say this because I'm gonna say this. I think I've met teachers who could 100% be 100% effective wearing shorts in the classroom, and they would impact kids. They would teach them. Kids will learn. They would learn from them, even if they're wearing shorts and chanclas. Should they? I don't know, but I know they
No,
can.
I agree, but hmm, that's a tough question, man. Because where do you draw the line?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're gonna be so lenient that, yeah, again, nothing wrong wearing shorts, sweatpants, fine, if you're gonna do your job effectively. But
Coaches.
coaches, coach, um, but you know, I think that sometimes people will criticize coaches for wearing sweatpants, but they don't know how it is to go from athletics to the classroom and then go back to after school sports. Like it's change
Mm-hmm.
back, change back. So I feel like as long as you're teaching,
So,
doing your job, and with sweatpants, you're a coach, you're sacrificing your time
mm-hmm.
and all this stuff to do extra. Let them have that incentive. That's what I feel. Give them a little
Okay.
something, like, oh, you're gonna work
So
half.
then the line moves with who we align to.
Um, yes,
Yes. Okay.
yes,
The
because if
line
you're
moves.
not willing to put that extra work, then
Okay. It's like a reward system.
correct,
Like a
yeah.
reward.
Because
Okay.
if you want to ask the school, a school in general, raise your hand if you want to stay after school to coach and get here
And
and
work
there
with kids.
and work
Yeah.
with kids.
Uh-huh.
More.
So
Not a lot of people will raise their
yeah,
hands.
no.
So,
We're having a poetry gallery, a gallery walk where we invited parents. We're opening the doors tomorrow from 4:30 to 6. We have, and I get it. Like people have things to do. Like not judging, but you just brought a memory. Like we have maybe 10 teachers in the department, and I think I saw a list of five that are staying for because not everybody has the time or the willingness to do
that's true.
the extra hour and a half or something. It does make a difference. I guess you're right. I know this is not about me. No, this is not about me, but I'm gonna share that I proudly coached for 6 years, 6 years as a JV light coach, JV dark coach, and a head coach. And I never wore sweatpants to
To
class
classroom.
ever,
That's good,
ever.
man.
Yeah. Well,
That's
it's
awesome.
good for me because I just now I'm not saying that I was a sharp dresser. I'm gonna show you a video that one of my students sent me, um, of me in class because again, I, I like to have fun in class, and that's I guess that's part of my way to connect with kids. But like, check this out. Check this out. This is me teaching. Like,
Jeans, sweater.
that's like my everyday attire. Just they're doing their thing, in a little concert, jeans, a jacket, and like I don't know, and I just never thought like I'm being unsuccessful because I'm wearing
So,
wearing this or
so does that stop with teachers? Can administrators do that? Can principals do that? Can a superintendent do that? Or where
the
do you
word
draw the
jeans.
line?
Well, it depends because I've seen superintendents in some district wear jeans, um, like and I was surprised because
Well, let
our
them.
superintendent said no,
Let's have them wear shorts because they still can perform with shorts.
but they can't. I think they can. If they go to the golf tournament, they can wear shorts.
There you go.
But I think it's appropriate to time because one thing one thing is ideology, and the other thing is reality. Okay, I believe 100% that I could be as effective when
Yep.
whatever I want.
Agreed.
I'm never gonna do it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but because we like, I think in the educational profession we have to bring it back to a respect setting. Okay,
Correct.
like I think there's that education moves in waves, and sometimes if we go back 30, 40 years, we see the strict teacher and the teacher that always that was the one leading education both inside and outside the classroom, and then parents were obeying what the teacher was saying, and that was education back then. And if
Yeah.
you don't go too far, you cross the river, go to Mexico.
That's how
That's
it
that's
is.
how education is in
Yeah.
Mexico. The teacher is el maestro, él es
Yes.
el profesor, él es el que nos
Whatever he
dice
says goes.
cómo se van a hacer las cosas. Actually, like you're afraid for te portas mal y mamá te va a decir, le voy a hablar a tu maestro,
Yeah.
le voy a hablar. Ay, ahí
It's,
estás tú, no, ma, no.
yeah. They
Este,
have a different concept.
so it's a different concept. I think that right now, in this point in time, uh, we're a little far from that.
Oh,
Like,
I think we're way behind.
like
We're
we're
way, way
we're we're a little far, and because at some point I don't know where that disconnect happened, that we were trying to be best friends
correct.
with parents and kids, which is great, and we're confusing the idea of creating rapport and being buddies.
Correct.
Like I think at some point we missed the line that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I had a teacher, Master Sergeant Rodriguez. He said that it's always teacher, student, and those lines never meet. And the moment that you do teacher, student, you have a problem. Or if you have student, teacher, you have a problem. And what he was trying to say is that you're always that face of authority in your
Should be.
in your classroom.
Should
Or
be.
you should be.
Yeah.
You should be. But again, the wave of education right now
It's not there.
is not there.
And I think that I can be wrong, but I feel like here in South Texas, we get a little bit of both. You know, we do have some parents that will back you up
Mm-hmm.
and have respect for that sense that the teacher's the one in charge and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You have some defiance here and there, but I feel like the higher you go north,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that gets worse. Where
Mm-hmm.
the lack of respect for teachers, this is where it's happening.
See, is
Where
it because we're third, fourth generation and like, we're far off the line and we're
slowly moving.
but is it because we know better? I guess that's my question too. Is it because we know better? Like you're in education and you're there. You're in teaching. Your wife is in education, assistant principal, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so if something goes wrong in your kids' classrooms, you're gonna know, and so
Yes.
you're gonna be on top of it.
Yes.
Like I know that you're gonna go
Yeah.
and you're gonna say, "Whoa, that's not right."
I'm gonna investigate with my child first. I'm
Yeah,
not going to the teacher.
right, right, right,
I'm
right.
not going to teacher.
But you're gonna go knowing that you know.
Correct.
Like you're not gonna go just, or you're not gonna let
I'm
it
gonna.
go.
Yeah.
You're not gonna let it go. Like if I'll tell you the example. Segundo grado de primaria para Francisco Faticati. Francisco Faticati no es bueno con las matemáticas para nada, not even one bit. Math is hard for me. It's difficult. Um, I don't know the timetables. So if you didn't know that about me, now you do. I don't know the timetables. I know maybe up to three, maybe
Next
four.
episode, we'll be doing a times table, guys.
Two times one, two,
Two.
and like I don't know the timetable. I had a teacher, and she was phenomenal. La maestra Mercedes Carrión Pérez, ya la quemé ahorita. Maestra Mercedes Carrión Pérez. She was great. She was great. She didn't let me go to the restroom because I didn't know 6 times 8. I still don't know 6 times 8. Still don't know. 6 por 8. So second grade, man, peed my pants. Second grade, and my parents were totally okay with it. Like I don't know if I would. Like I don't know if I would be okay with
That
like
situation.
yeah. Is it because we know better?
Is it because we're in the education business that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know that that's not proper? Those are
That's
not best
not
practices.
pedagogy.
Hey, yeah. I mean, perhaps
Yeah, right.
that's. But I get it. Yeah, and I don't mean to be rude. Right? The ignorance of not
No,
of
that's
being
what
that
it is.
having that mentality of the teacher's always right. Yeah, so that's where it gets tricky because now you have to put either you put your trust on the child or you put your
Uh-huh.
trust on your teacher.
Uh-huh.
And most often not, now people are changing. I'm going to trust my child before I trust the teacher. And now sometimes that's where kids will play with their parents' minds and
Uh-huh.
say, no, it wasn't my fault, and
Sí,
they're going to believe their child before
sí,
they
sí, sí.
believe, and because of a few,
Pagamos todos.
pagamos todos.
Sí.
Yeah,
Pues ese es el, digo, ese es el dilema donde where I don't know, like I don't know, because our parents, and you called it right. I think ignorance is the absence of knowledge. So I think that's what it was. Like they didn't know, and if you're gonna educate my kid, I put all my trust in you
correct.
that you're gonna do this, and I put it all on you. Um, so they had really no voice on or choice on what was taught, on how it was
That was tough.
taught. I mean, we remember and we all heard the stories of the teachers dándole zapes or hitting the
Yeah, hitting
kids
with the rulers and
because they didn't get it or whatever. Um, but now, like for us that we're in the field, and for parents that are not may not be in the field of ed, but they want to put their kids first. Like, is it because they know that some things are not? And how do we again go back to that balance of how do we shift the fields to go back and meet in the middle, right? Because we can't go back to a state of ignorance. I think any research you read would say that parents who are involved, kids will be more
correct.
successful.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the tricky part to get the parents involved. Um, how do you? Because I feel like everything is tied to everything. For
Mm-hmm.
example, the economy. You got parents struggling to buy food, pay for gas, pay for bills. That why? Like, I'm not worried about your report card. You got in a fight school, okay? But this is more important. So I'm not gonna focus. I'm not gonna put more burden on my brain that I already have. So I feel like if we have a successful economy, everything's going good. I feel like maybe back then when one parent could work and the mother worries about the children,
Uh huh.
it was a different time where that's your job is to clean the house, do whatever. Now, that sounds kind of,
Absolutely does.
yeah, I know. But but I'm saying those times where the I shouldn't be saying dad, but that's what it was. I mean,
Uh-huh.
most of the times it was the father
No,
that
that's what it
worked.
was. Reality
The
is
reality,
reality.
yeah, is
Uh-huh.
that the father would work and the mom was a stay-at-home mom, and you worried about the kids,
Uh-huh.
and anything that happened with the kids, it was your responsibility. My job was just to bring.
I'm the
I'm the
breadwinner.
breadwinner, and
Uh-huh.
that's it. Um,
But we know we're not in that space anymore.
we're not, and because that's been taken away from us, now neither parent can focus on their kids because you need to work and I need to work, and
Mm-hmm.
we gotta survive, and
See,
that's affecting the kids because we're not
see,
focusing on them.
and I think I mean I'm a feminist. I believe in women equality, and I believe that we should have the same and same roles and responsibilities as far as parenting, as far as everything else. And I think like based on the conversations we've had, seems like you and your wife have a good method of
Just
handling
being equal, being
because
equal.
you both work and you both take care of the kids, and I think that's very important. Um, but we're in a position of privilege because we have a stable job, like it's just a stable
Correct.
paycheck, and I can get sick today
Yeah,
and call in,
and it's fine
and
because
it's fine because I'm gonna
same.
get my check.
Yeah, but that person that works at Stripes, that works at HEB, Walmart, that you're out and because you got to take the kids to
Mm-hmm.
the doctor.
Vete mocoso a la
Sí,
clase, sí,
mejor,
sí,
yeah,
mejor vete mocoso
yeah,
because I'm gonna spend money on taking you to the doctor that I'm not gonna earn today.
correct.
So, um,
That's what I mean by the systems. in general, how everything's tied
Mm-hmm.
to each other. That's what needs to change. It's just not just a one thing to fix. Um, when every when we fix the rest, I think this will fall into place as well.
See, and yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it's more of a systemic problem. So
Yeah,
it's a how do we adapt education to stop mirroring the workplace?
yeah,
Because right now it's about how do we fit time. I think I was talking here 2 weeks ago in our last episode of season one. By the way, if you made it this far, please subscribe and like this video. Share with people if you like the conversation. I was here with Mr. Sergio Garza and we talked about um, how the day is divided. 8 hours for work, 8 hours
for sleep.
for sleeping, and 8 hours for living. And so, and that's just the way it is. But if you want to do something else, then you're taking away from either one.
Correct. Yeah,
Like,
you're messing with.
you're messing with the time schedule.
Yeah.
And if you want to go work out at 5 in the morning, you're taking time away from
From
the
sleep.
family time or from sleep or from whatever,
Yeah.
right? Um, so systemically, I think we're at a problem.
Yeah.
Like, how do we fix that issue? How do we ensure that our kids are present in class but learning something? Like,
Yes.
how do we make sure that our parents support us but they don't fully trust people because it's tough. Like it's tough. Even the playing outside for kids. Like I'm sure you grew up playing outside.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't know if you would be 100% with your kids playing outside,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, the
see
trust
what
of
I mean?
yeah.
It's like a whole trust issue, but it goes back to do do we do it because we know better?
I think because like from what I hear, right, stories that I hear is that back then you could leave the door open of the front house, or people would hang out on the front porch,
Mm-hmm.
right, and leave their front door open. People would come in and say, hey, come visit, whatever. And now it's make sure you lock the door, turn out the lights outside, because you know. So that trust has been lost with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's because of different situations, whether it's stealing or
Mm-hmm.
doing different illegal things because of the systemic problems that we already have,
Yeah.
because those systems that are in place are affecting certain type of groups
Mm-hmm.
that are going and doing bad
Mm-hmm.
things, and therefore now you don't have that trust.
Mm-hmm. But crime is not new. Like crime existed before.
But I think the way that it was dealt with has changed,
Or
not necessarily in a positive way, but
see,
I think it's just been dealt with different. That maybe there was more fear back then. I don't know.
I don't know. Something happened. Like something happened.
Somewhere, yeah.
So something happened because you're absolutely right. I remember our house in Mexico because I grew up in Mexico. It was always open. It was always
You
open. And tenemos una que era
la de tela,
la de tela y luego la grande.
la
Pero la grande siempre abierta, la de
la de
tela
tela
sí.
nomás to
Ajá.
stop the bugs.
Para sí, to stop the bugs. Y teníamos al vecino a Lico. Cada que venía Lico, Nico. Lico, no, sí, Lico. Venía Lico. He would whistle. And that's how we knew, ahí viene
Ahí
alguien.
viene
Sí, sí,
alguien,
viene.
yeah.
And so from far away, he started. We're like, oh,
Ahí viene el
sí,
lico.
ahí viene Lico, viene el café.
Yeah,
Sí,
exactly. But different times.
mm-hmm.
Now everybody's like, check the phone for the ring. A ver quién llegó.
Ándale.
Don't open the door. You
Exactly.
don't know who it is. So it's
Exactly.
like, yeah,
Like, I don't know.
that trust is gone.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if I would let my kids go with Lico.
Yeah, even though you know them for there, yeah.
I don't know.
Is it media that's been, you know,
I think
like
so.
movies that were like, no, que no le pases a mi hijo,
So
or you see the
maybe
news and it's like,
exposure to things like
and
news travels fast now,
but
so
everything in the news is also negative.
everything's negative. Yeah.
Everything's negative, so everything you see is like, I want to happen in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that it's not happening, but it's not as severe. Like the whole border crisis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my god, these
See.
people are coming
Mm-hmm.
by thousands, jumping over the. No,
So we live
we
here.
live here,
Yeah,
dude.
I
They're
haven't seen
fine.
anybody. Yeah.
Some come, some come through. Yes, like they'd have
Mm-hmm.
any other time,
Uh huh.
but the way the media makes it seem is
Mm-hmm.
like it's going crazy. It's like,
See.
God, dude. We went to Vegas a while back, and they were like, "Oh, where you from?" I'm like, "Oh, South Texas." "Oh, San Antonio." Hombre, no, like right,
Deep, deep
like
south.
deep sec,
Uh-huh.
like the border wall is right behind my house. I can hear a gunshot.
Yeah.
He's like, for real? I was like, nah, not that
Hey,
stuff.
I lived in Hidalgo for 9 years. The border wall was right behind our
Right
house,
behind,
and
yeah.
we could hear gunshots every single night, like every night. Just tra, 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 and we're like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just
Deep, deep South Texas. Sir Valdez, thank you so much. Thank you
appreciate
so
it, man.
much. I think this was a great start episode. I know we touched on a lot of subjects that are really important to education. I really loved how our conversation just flows.
Yeah,
Like
man,
we,
just
we
goes.
started with a subject and then we kind of touched on them and then we went back and forth. I think that's what the purpose of this space is. Um, Seeing because there's a lot of people out there who don't get the forum to express their thoughts or to think, am I the only person that thinks like this? So I think giving other people the opportunity to hear what people in the field of education think about, because we call this podcast unrequested PD. I don't know if you can hear it, see it right here, but you know the picture somewhere here. um, because really that's what we want to do. We want to open the doors of conversation to people. We want to make sure that people talk to us to say, um, in the field of education, these are issues and how can we fix them. We're not here to just highlight problems. Like
Correct.
we're here to talk about potential solutions and what can we continue to do to offer the best education possible for kids.
Yeah,
I think.
in agreements or disagreements,
Mm-hmm.
which is what matters, right? That's how we fix things. That's how we make things better
See.
by even disagreeing with things and seeing what that, like you said, that other person thinks,
Uh huh. What
and
do they think?
and maybe
Yeah.
it changes your perspective, your paradigm
Or
shifts, and
maybe you change yours.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh
So
huh.
then you're like, oh, okay, I like the way he thinks. So that
Sí.
makes sense. That
Estoy
makes more sense
bien
than what you.
tonso yo.
Hey, soy bien menso. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Sí, sí, sí. Next week we're having Danny. Hopefully,
Better come through, Danny.
I know he canceled today, so
He
everybody
canceled.
listening, we were supposed to be three today,
It was supposed to be three. So
but
hopefully he comes
but
through.
apparently he just realized today that he's moving.
Just, I mean, he's been living there for 20 years, and today he chooses to move.
He was like, "Oh wait, guys, I'm moving."
Like, now we're gonna
Uh,
have to.
yeah.
By the time he finishes moving, his hair is gonna be grown
I
back. I don't
know.
know.
I know. We'll have him here next week for sure. I think, or yeah,
We're gonna have him here next week.
we'll make sure we'll
I'm gonna go
find a
pick him up.
date.
I'm
So
gonna go pick
there
him
you
up.
go. Go pick him up. And sir, thank you so much. This
No, I
was a
appreciate it,
great
Pati.
conversation again. Always a pleasure being with you. I know we didn't explain this earlier, but in our new season of Unrequested PD, there's gonna be two of us sharing constant conversations and talking about things. Sometimes not even related, like we ended up this podcast to education, but it's just things that are in our brains and that we want to say and that we hope that people can enjoy.
Oh, I want to give you a thanks, man, for having me out here and for inviting me to this podcast and for keeping me here. Right? Is
Yeah.
that what I'm getting at? So yeah, now that we're here together, hopefully I can bring my insight as a teacher and your insight as an administrator, and have different people from different backgrounds
Yeah.
and have
Mm-hmm.
different ideas. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
looking
see what.
forward to the new
Yeah.
season, man.
Let's do this, man.
Yes,
Let's do it.
sir.
Thank you so much.